ask me to protect you like the last time.
Me not wanting you to listen to the Abyss Order doesn't mean that you have to listen to me. Freedom, if demanded of you by an Archon, is really no freedom at all.
I didn't expect Genshin to have a decent story. Like, the game has actual plot, characters that mostly don't want you to rip your hair out, and actual themes about loss and connections to other people. For me, I came into the game with zero expectations. Needless to say, I'm kinda blown away, especially when the characters are to die for. Diluc and Kaeya have perfect chemistry, Jean and Lisa are more than just bait, and Barbara is certified best girl. And Venti, he's the culmination of everything built up in this region, climaxing with a surprisingly emotional cutscene. We'll talk about its shortcomings and setting later, but right now, I recommend Genshin Impact, if only to experience the Mondstadt storyline.
Outlanders, your journey ends here. Who are you? The sustainer of heavenly principles. The arrogation of mankind ends now.
I can't talk about Genshin and not make a short about that atrocious intro. It's a double whammy of stink. First, the main character's sibling is kidnapped, essentially showing us a choice and a reaction that has zero meaning. I don't want all the context, I just want it to slow down because magic twins hopping dimensions and being attacked by another seemingly magic dimension hopping person above the clouds is a lot to take in as a first cutscene. Then, the second you get dropped into the game, you get told in text that you've been here in the world, in the forest for a while now and fished up Paimon from the lake. What? I feel like that should be explained more. The intro goes a mile a minute, over-informing and under-explaining. I still recommend the game, but dang, this intro sucks.
Oh, how chained to your daily toiling you are. Must you intrude on a bard's leisure time?
The first region is named Mondstadt, and the city of that region is also named Mondstadt, so that's not gonna cause any confusion. Anyway, as Genshin's introduction to the setting, it's not half bad. At first glance, it seems like a generic fantasy world, a la 90% of isekai animes, but as someone who isn't that versed in Eastern mythology, the magic system with the visions and the archons is pretty novel. What I appreciate the most here though is the lengths the game goes through to connect areas like Springvale and Dawn Winery back to the main city. Every area feels interconnected with no splinters. Make no mistake though, Genshin doesn't hide its gameplay inspirations, but the real meat and potatoes, the lore and details of the world look pretty fresh to me.
Do you know the story of Durin and this mountain? Snow gathers atop this mountain and never melts.
What is the appeal of climbing a mountain? Because, in a word, it's uncomfortable. The constant drain, the freezing enemies, the tilted terrain, combine that when I got to the top I couldn't even enter the big door because my level was too low and you can see nothing from the peak, and it gives the air that everything about the area seems to be made solely to make you uncomfortable. And I love it for that. The appeal of climbing a mountain is the climb. The challenge that comes of scaling it is authentic to the feeling you get of putting one foot in front of the other and marching up a trail. Dragonspire is difficult, and the true reward is about the journey and not the destination. And if you are in any way invested about the quests in the camp, you are going to be journeying up and down a lot. You get to kill a giant boar, find a hidden treasure, get to climb the highest point. The appeal of climbing a mountain is that you get to climb a mountain.
The transcendent and miraculous are not the only things to which human beings aspire. They pursue the everyday, the ordinary, to a far greater extent than I would have ever imagined. This mountain we stand on is a cradle of life's profoundest mysteries, a vast and terrifying hotbed of possibilities.
Genshin doesn't quite attract the masochists who like the poison swamps in Dark Soul games, and so should Dragonspire had been made to accommodate this more casual audience? Perhaps add more plot, more cute girls and boys playing in the snow, more understandable lore that you can actually see and is not obscured by a vague puzzle in a dark cave. maybe not ask you to get a bajillion red crystals to do one more quest? I think not. For one, I am so glad that for the majority, I do not have to hear Paimon yap about stuff not worth yapping about. And for two, a change of pace is nice. It's nice to know that the devs are willing to put stuff in that's weird, that's uncomfortable, that's hostile, because it shakes things up. And for casuals, a game gets boring when a game gets stale. I hope there's more shakeups in the future.
Your strength is praiseworthy. I too shall use all of mine.
The second Archon quest has a great hook in the apparent death of Rex Lapis and us being a suspect in his murder, but then we get to work with Child, get booted out of the city, cross the entire region to find the Human Hater Squad before helping Zhongli with preparing funeral rites even though we're still a suspect to the murder. It all comes off as extremely fragmented, especially since no progress seems to be happening when we do this. It gets remedied after the halfway point when Ning Huang arrives and gives a face to the people that actually run the city. In the final act, all the side quests get neatly tied together and we get the back-to-back climax of fighting Child and the God of the Waves. This reads as a pacing problem, but I wonder if the dialogue wasn't written like the writers were cuddling at Thesaurus, perhaps the problem would go away. The story is still good. Subscribe for more shorts, and Mooncarver contributed nothing to the conversation while having the audacity to get angry. I wasn't expecting Leeway to have an epilogue, but I'm here for it. The epilogue covers the reconstruction of the Jade Chamber, giving more depth to the ending of the Archon quest as the Human Hater Squad actually follows up on the whole peaceful agreement thing. The introduction of Shenhe was nice as well. It felt like a character hangout or story quest that just so happens to be tracked in the main story. Her characterization and mini-arc are nice, but she suffers from a little inconsistency. It does not help to paint this woman as a bringer of calamity if she doesn't even insult us. Maybe she's just really confrontational. Who knows? So like and subscribe, and they really just pulled a second Hydra out of nothing. Don't think I'm not gonna notice something so cheap. Is this going to be a regular thing in Genshin? An area geographically within the region and heavily referenced in the main city, yet isolated from the Archon questline and wholly separated from greater world quests and side quests? I'm down for that. And the chasm is about as different as you can get from Dragonspine, going down instead of up, having a more involved story that guides you through it, focused on Geo rather than Cryo, and introducing its own unique mechanics in the form of jump pads and those obelisk thingies that make circles. The lack of immediate danger doesn't make it as compelling to explore compared to Dragonspine, and while destroying the seals made by the Liyue ruling class has some interesting implications, it being basically its own mini-region makes me doubt that this place will continue to build its lore in future updates. So subscribe for more shorts, and this is half the size of Mondstadt. What the heck? I wasn't expecting the Chasm to have a story, and though it's a pleasant surprise, there's something low quality about it. The Chasm has only one person with a unique character model. They don't even get dialogue. Every conversation has egregious amounts of lore dumping, and the character writing, Zikwang, or however you pronounce it, having an arc about making history because she has no vision could be compelling, but gets annoying because of the lack of care that I feel like wasn't there in previous stories. And if you removed all of this plot, you'd get the same experience. So what I'm saying is, give us more side quests. Tell us more about the Fatui expedition that went sideways after their higher ups got kicked out of Liyue. Tell me more about this mushroom guy that seems to be whatever an Archon is to mushrooms. Tell me more about this other guy who bought radioactive jewelry and thinks he's an ancient hero. The side quests are about 1000% better than the main story.
Leaving the city? It's a real jungle out there. They say there's this group of guys now who always come out in the rain, since it drowns out the cries for help and washes away any sign of a struggle.
That all sounds perfect.
The biggest problem with the Chasm's lore is that it assumes you understood what the heck happened in Dragonspine. And let me tell ya, I appreciate everything that that mountain had to offer, but you could not bother me to identify whatever was written on the walls in the secret room. Here, we have an entire expedition team ready to over-explain stuff to us, and I don't know if it's better. A researcher willing to talk about rocks all day, and a cartographer that wants to map every inch, both of whom are willing to go on long monologues about their craft. There is no wondering what happened here. The mystery of giant nails being pounded into ancient civilizations and of black knights being awakened by cursed stones should have been presented with more care so that players actually find it interesting. Instead, it gets reduced to text on a screen that I mostly skip through. Like Dragonspine, the lore should be something optional and not shoved into your face. So subscribe for more short, and we'll do Inazuma in the next one. I know I said a while back that I was going to do Inazuma, but this is literally Hu Tao's second story quest, so bear with me. Lantern Rite 2025 is a who's who of character interactions, but that's just Genshin fanservice, and damn it, I loved finding Amber and Dea here. Then there's the narrative. First, I wondered why we weren't escorting Lanyan, but by the second half it made sense, because this is Hu Tao's second story quest. She was already one of my favorites, but this, it expands her backstory, the funeral parlor, and the spooky place in Liyue's mountain, and then we control Hu Tao in the spirit world. Wow. My problem, I can't recommend it. It's a rare event, but that's a wrap for another short.
Alchemy is a mysterious art that revolves around all living things, and the study of life, in particular, requires painting.
Yes, you certainly make wonderful paintings of anything that piques your interest, Mr. Albedo.
Arise, lifeless dust of the universe and that within. Thou art reborn.
I detest artificial rarity. Albedo's story quest feels like the start of a bigger narrative. Then BAM! Cliffhanger! To get the full story, I had to watch YouTube videos instead of playing it in-game. Events like Lantern Rite being temporary is fine. It's self-contained. But Albedo's quest introduced him, Rosaria, and a seed from another world, then ended with, "Can you kill me when the time comes?" That's unfair, and they can't excuse it. Genshin already has non-canon content like the Imaginarium Theater, the Teapot, and Spiral Abyss. But no, they insist in artificial rarity and players get screwed over for it.
We have always had enough time.
Dainsleif is without a doubt the edgiest character in Genshin Impact, and that's saying something when Ryo Thesli and Xiao exist. Before meeting him, I had no idea he'd already made an appearance, or at least his voice had, in Genshin's YouTube trailers. Because why the heck would I know that? I don't casually watch years old trailers on YouTube. I watch Doro like every other Genshin player. This wouldn't be a problem if his introduction story didn't reference those videos. Specifically, the Genshin Impact story teaser, "We Will Be Reunited." Why? What kind of writer makes a major plot point depend on a video no new player will ever see? This does not bode well for Inazuma's story, and I am not thrilled.
Special summer performance is about to begin.
Okay, I've only played up until Inazuma and haven't even met half the characters yet, but here's my top 3 favorite people. At number 3, the Traveler. Yeah, I'm basic, but the story potential is huge, and their element switching means my free-to-play self can always fit them into a team. Number 2 is Dea. I haven't even been to the desert yet, but her design is easily one of the best. So many outfits in Genshin don't reflect the character. How is Yanfei supposed to be a lawyer? But Dea's look tells her story. And at number 1, it's Barbara. It's criminal that the in-game idol never actually sings. Personality-wise, it's a 10 out of 10.